Hello again. This time Magnus is playing against Levon Aronian. Magnus Carlsen, he secured his spot to play in the candidates by finishing in the top 10 at the FIDE World Cup in 2005. I think I showed you one game there when he defeated Kamsky. You might remember that one. And at this time the candidate matches was not a candidate tournament like it is now. Then it was matches. You play many games against the same player and one advances to the next round, basically. Magnus was played against a very tough opponent, Levon Aronian from Armenia. Aronian won the FIDE World Cup in 2005 that I talked about, where Magnus got top 10, got the chances to play these candidate matches. Aronian also won the Elista RUS tournament in 2006. I think I showed you one game there. And also the Vikanse tournament 2007. So he was at this time maybe the best player in the world. It was either him or the world champion Vladimir Kramnik. Despite that, Magnus Carlsen played very good games against Aronian. The match consisted of 6 classical games that concluded in a 3-3 tie. I will show 2 games here when Magnus won. And after the 3-3 in the classical games, it was 4 rapid matches, which also ended in a tie 2-2. But Aronian won both Blixt games. Aronian was born in 1982 in Yerevan, Armenia. And he was a very, very strong player from an early age. In 1994, he won World Champion Under 12 for boys. And 2002, he won the Under 20 World Chess Championship. So he was the Junior World Chess Champion at that. And by 2005, he was already top 10 in the world. And I told you about the big tournaments he had won before this one. So this game was game 3 in the match against Aronian and Carlsen in Elista in Russia, 29th of May 2007. Magnus plays knight f3, and Aronian, he's trying to play the hedgehog system here. If Magnus would play d4, it would be the hedgehog system, which is a system not quite solid for black, but I like that, the interesting system. So then there is a way how you can try to get like a little bit more interesting hedgehog. It is if let's say black maybe plays castle and then white plays e4, d6 and then d4, and then you play the hedgehog system, but the light squared bishops are not being traded off. So it's because white has more space, white has a little bit more potential, but it's still a fine system for black. But now when it's clear for black that white wants to play e4 here, so black plays d5 to counter that, and we, after the take here, black could also take with the e pawn, and then white would play d4, and it would become either probably a hanging pawn structure. It's likely to become that, but instead black played like this, and it becomes a system known as the Semitage system. Black takes and put the bishop here. It's important that it put it here, otherwise white will play e4, but that will also be playable for black. But they're playing like this, and black has managed quite many trades. The problem for black is that white has gotten quite active pieces. Bishop h6 might come, so white has some attacking potential here. Magnus does a move that he likes to do. It's pushing. If you don't know what to do, push the h-pawn. The computer does not like this knight c6 here. Maybe he thinks that the knight was needed on d7 to defend the king side. Like if here after bishop g5 you could do knight d7 and black would be quite solid. But now black's king side is a little bit in trouble here. The computer thinks e5 is best, trying to trade queens, but then white would trade queens and play d5 and has a strong pass pawn on d5. But this is just winning for white because black's king is way too weak to play like this. But here Magnus missed the win here. Instead of taking back knight queen f4 is winning, and we will see next move why they need to do that. For example, like here, and then just like something like that, rook d1 and d5, and white's position is completely crushing. And the reason is that this pawn is so weak. If this pawn was on g7 it would be fine for black, but it's just positionally winning here. And it's important to do this queen f4 in between move, because what happened in the game, it was that now black could play e5 and forcing the queen trade. White maybe should have tried queen h5 here, but it's still black would win a pawn there, so it's Magnus goes for the ending instead. But this ending is also a little bit better for it's better for white, of course, with the passer, but of course the other was just winning with the black with the queens still here. But he does something interesting here. He gets like a nice square here for his knight, but of course black can counter it by putting a blockading knight here. But still it's not so easy for black to get out. So Magnus gets one of his like kind of famous like squeezes or positional dominance here. He doesn't do very much, but his position is good here. And apparently this endgame, so maybe Magnus already saw, apparently now white is winning, so maybe it can be that Magnus saw longer than the computer, that Magnus realized that this endgame is just winning for him, so it was no problem. Like the computer thinks that white should have kept the queen to attack, but maybe already here Magnus saw that the endgame is just winning for him, because I can't see any mistakes that Aronian did really, and now it's just lost because the rook comes here and wins the h7 pawn. And he goes up with the king here. And now of course the king is going here and checkmate. So nice win by Magnus. Again, he doesn't do anything, but it was this move was a bit uncareful by Aronian. He should have put the knight here instead. Okay, I have one more game from this match, so stay tuned.